Imagine you are standing in a place where sunlight has never reached. Beneath your feet is not rock or stone, but a deep ocean. But above your head, it is also not the sky. You are trapped inside a giant cage, 18 miles beneath the surface of this world, under a layer of ice as hard as steel. No light, no sound, no direction. Only the weight of an entire planet pressing down on your chest. Welcome to Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter. Here, our definition of an ocean is completely meaningless. There is no water surface for you to break for air. There is no sunrise to mark tomorrow. Only an eternal ice dome, imprisoning an entire world of water in absolute darkness for billions of years. But the most terrifying thing isn't the darkness on Europa. It is the question that is keeping NASA scientists awake at night. If a gargantuan ocean containing twice as much water as Earth has existed in such isolation since the dawn of the solar system, then within that deathly silence, has something learned how to live, how to hunt, and how to survive without any sunlight? Today, we will drill deep into the secrets of this frozen prison to see what is truly hiding beneath 18 miles of Europa's ice. From millions of miles away, Europa appears like a precious gem amidst the darkness of the Jovian system. It is peaceful, frigid, and seemingly harmless. With a diameter of over 1,900 miles, Europa is slightly smaller than our moon. It silently orbits Jupiter every 3.5 days, always keeping a single face pointed toward its host planet, a state of eternal tidal locking. But upon closer inspection, scientists recognize an absurdity. In a solar system riddled with collisions, where every celestial body bears the scars of asteroid impacts from billions of years ago, Europa is unusually smooth. It possesses the smoothest surface in the entire solar system. Why? There is only one answer. Europa is not a dead block of rock. It is a living entity. The impact craters do not disappear, they are wiped clean. Its shell is constantly being recycled, renewed from beneath. Europa is not just an icy moon, it is a shell concealing something moving silently, a secret that does not want to be revealed. NASA's Galileo mission in 1995 changed everything. The spacecraft did not see the ocean directly, but it heard Europa's narrative through magnetic fields. Galileo's instruments recorded a strange induced magnetic field originating from beneath the surface. Something highly conductive is covering this entire moon. And in the universe, the most logical explanation for such a gargantuan conductive material is liquid salt water. But the clearest evidence lies in the fractures we call lineae. They look like leaking blood vessels. Scientists believe these are locations where the ice shell was stretched to its breaking point, fracturing and allowing warm water from below to surge up, freezing instantly, and leaving behind red streaks of salt and minerals. In areas of chaos terrain, the ice doesn't just crack, it melts completely. Gargantuan icebergs float, collide, and are then frozen back together in distorted shapes. Europa is no longer a distant mystery. Every footprint on the surface leads to a single conclusion. An ocean exists, and it is searching for any way to escape. At this point, we encounter a deadly paradox. Europa is located very far from the Sun, where surface temperatures consistently remain at minus 256 degrees Fahrenheit. According to all laws of physics, this place should be a block of ice, frozen solid from the core outward. So, what has kept that ocean from turning into eternal ice? The answer does not come from sunlight, but from the brutal giant standing right beside it, Jupiter. Imagine you bend a metal rod continuously. It will heat up. That is exactly what Jupiter is doing to Europa. Jupiter's terrifying gravitational pull, combined with neighbouring moons, constantly stretches and compresses Europa's core. This process generates a massive amount of internal frictional heat. We call this tidal heating. It is this internal energy source that has maintained an ocean up to 62 miles deep. Consider this comparison. The Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth, is only about 7 miles. Europa's ocean is 10 times deeper than that, containing 2 to 3 times the volume of all Earth's oceans combined. For decades, a heated debate has divided the scientific community. Is Europa's ice shell thick or thin? If it is thin, we can reach the ocean. If it is thick, it will be a nightmare. And in 2025, data from the Juno spacecraft brought the grimmest answer: 18 miles. 18 miles of ice is not just a geological figure, it is a sentence. At temperatures of minus 256 degrees Fahrenheit, this ice is not brittle like the ice in your refrigerator. It is as hard and tough as reinforced steel. It is an eternal rampart, completely separating the world above from the ocean below. Every idea of landing and drilling through this shell has become far-fetched. With current technology, we haven't even drilled more than 7.5 miles into Earth's soft ground, let alone piercing through nearly 18 miles of deathly ice, 500 million miles away from us. Suddenly, Europa's ocean is no longer an easily accessible treasure. It is a completely sealed prison, deadlocked and lonely. But just as hope seemed to be slammed shut by the figure of 18 miles, Europa showed that it is not entirely silent. The Hubble Space Telescope has captured astonishing moments. Gargantuan plumes of water vapour erupting from fissures at the South Pole, soaring into space to heights 20 times that of Mount Everest. As it turns out, Europa is not a perfectly closed system. The terrifying pressure from beneath sometimes forces the ocean to find a way out through microscopic cracks. The most ironic part is that when reviewing old data from 1997, scientists were stunned to realise the Galileo spacecraft had once flown right through one of these plumes. We had touched the material of Europa's ocean decades ago, but at the time, we were too blind to notice. These plumes are Europa's gift. They mean that humanity does not need to drill through 18 miles of ice. We only need to fly by, collect that water mist, and we will know what is swimming down there. If you think flying through to collect samples is easy, remember this. Europa lies within Jupiter's death zone. This giant possesses a terrifying magnetic field, transforming the space surrounding Europa into a gargantuan radiation oven. Radiation levels on the surface are powerful enough to tear apart any complex organic structures within hours and fry human electronics in a matter of days. This is the ultimate taunt of the universe. We know the ocean is there, we know it is leaking material into space, but we are blocked at the threshold by a dense wall of ice and an environment saturated with lethal radiation. Any biological traces that emerge onto the surface are immediately wiped clean by Jupiter's radiation. Europa is like a cryptic vault protected by layers of self-destructing locks. We are so close to the answer to the question of extraterrestrial life, but every step forward reminds us of the fragile limits of humanity. We have reason to believe, but do we have the strength to reach it? For centuries, we have deluded ourselves with an immutable rule. To have life, there must be sunlight. We look at barren rocky planets and tell ourselves that we are the only lucky ones. But Europa is challenging that arrogance. The question here has never been simply, is there water or not? The real question, the one that causes billions of dollars to be poured into space missions, is, can life take root in a sealed world? Life requires 3 things. Liquid water, Europa has it in abundance. The right chemical elements, we are seeing them leak onto the surface. And finally, an energy source stable enough to sustain life for billions of years. And that is where the true mystery begins. If you think life cannot exist without light, look down to the bottom of our own ocean. In the deepest places, where pressure is enough to crush a battle tank and light is an alien concept, life still flourishes. Around hydrothermal vents, geothermal fissures spewing hot water and minerals, ecosystems exist without needing a single photon of light from the sunday. The bacteria there do not photosynthesize, they chemosynthesize. They turn heat and chemicals from the ground into life energy. This is the exact mirror image of Europa. If Earth has proven that life can adapt to absolute darkness and extreme pressure, then why do we assume that Europa's ocean is an empty graveyard? But this is where the tension rises. Some of the latest studies in 2024 and 2025 are throwing a bucket of cold water on this hope. They fear that Europa's rocky core may be too cold, too rigid to generate seafloor volcanic activity like that on Earth. If the seafloor fireplace is broken, the energy for life will run dry. However, the universe always has a way of bending the rules. Even without volcanoes, a chemical process called serpentinization can still occur when seawater seeps into the cracks of the rocky core, generating heat and hydrogen gas. Every time a door of hope closes, Europa reveals another crack. It never gives us an easy answer. It forces us to chase it through every hypothesis, caught between intense life on one side and a bone-chilling emptiness on the other. And then, in late 2023, James Webb found traces of carbon dioxide concentrated in the most chaotic terrain of Europa. More importantly, this type of carbon did not fall from the outside. It came from the internal ocean itself. This is an undeniable piece of evidence. CO2 is one of the fundamental building blocks of life. It shows that Europa's ocean is not merely a simple saltwater reservoir, but it is exchanging chemicals with the surface. It is breathing out traces of a complex chemical environment, from magnetic fields, crimson fractures, to water vapor plumes and now carbon dioxide. The puzzle pieces are slowly fitting together. We are no longer seeing disjointed fragments. We are seeing a picture that is increasingly difficult to ignore. An ocean that is alive, in motion, and perhaps containing something far beyond our imagination. Europa is no longer a science fiction dream or a question mark sitting on the pages of theory. Right now, a historic mission is being deployed. NASA has launched Europa Clipper, the most sophisticated probe ever built to explore a moon. This is not an ordinary flyby mission, it is a systematic scientific siege. It carries ice-penetrating radar to precisely measure the thickness of that 1/8-mile deathly shell. It carries infrared eyes to search for leaking heat, and more importantly than all, it will actively plunge into the water vapor plumes, the breaths of Europa, to taste the chemical composition of the ocean below without having to set foot on the surface. For the first time in history, we are not standing from afar to guess. We have sent a detective to Europa's very doorstep to knock on the door. The answer may not lie in a distant future centuries away, but it is advancing very close, within the next few years of our own generation. But prepare yourself for what Clipper will find, because no matter what the answer is, it will permanently change our position in the universe. Imagine the first scenario. Europa is completely empty. A world with liquid water, chemicals, billions of years of time, and a stable energy source, but still unable to create life. If that is the truth, it suggests a terrifying fear. Life may be an accident, so rare that Earth is the only case. We are perhaps lonelier than anything we have ever imagined. But consider the second scenario. If Clipper finds just a single trace of microorganisms, just one simple cell existing in the darkness of Europa, and the theorems of the universe will be rewritten. It means that Earth is not a divine exception. Life does not need a blue sky or warm sunlight to begin. It means that life is an instinct of the universe. It will take root anywhere it has the chance, whether under 18 miles of ice or in suffocating darkness. If Europa has life, we are no longer alone. This universe is not a cold rock graveyard, but a living, breathing entity, and it may be harbouring thousands of other Europas out there. Europa is still there, continuing to orbit Jupiter in a dance of gravity and destruction. Beneath 18 miles of ancient ice, that ocean has waited in the darkness for billions of years. It has witnessed the rise and fall of species on Earth from afar, keeping its secrets hidden from all curious eyes. Now, humanity is finally close enough to press an ear against that frozen door. We are listening, we are waiting, but Europa remains silent. Perhaps the most terrifying thing isn't what is lurking beneath that ice, but whether we dare to accept the truth when that door finally opens. The truth of a deathly silent ocean, or a life that has never seen the sunlight. The answer is coming. And when it arrives, our world will never be the same again.